Chairman, can you just remind all the commissioners that they have to turn their mics on during the roll?
Sure.
We are now live, so it's 1 minute to 1.
This is like those old 1950s live TV shows. Are you going to give us a countdown?
It's going to come in with a chalk or a board and snap it in front of your face.
That's right. And then you point to the camera.
It's time.
That wasn't very dramatic. All right, let's get started here. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the November 10th regular meeting of the Community Development Commission of Chicago. I'm Jorge Perez, chairman of the CDC and host of today's virtual meeting. Due to the COVID-19 public health emergency, an in-person meeting would not have been practical or prudent today. Therefore, in accordance with the Commission's emergency rules, this meeting is being held virtually on Zoom and can be viewed live via the Commission's website. A court reporter is present today to record the proceedings. Now, Commissioners, you've all been designated as panelists, which means that you will be able to control your microphone. Please remember to place your microphone on mute unless you need to speak. If you want to be recognized by the chair, please activate the raise your hand feature and you will be called in order. This is month, I believe 9, or is it 9? Feels like 9 of the pandemic, so we should all be experts at this. But the agenda for today's meeting was posted on November 5th, both online and at the CDC website and physically in City Hall. So I will now begin the meeting with call the roll. So Commissioners, please make sure you turn on your microphone at this point for roll call. Commissioners, when your name is called, please respond by saying present and also indicate that you can hear me okay. Vice Chair Newsom. I know you're on, Shirley. Commissioner, you got to turn your mic on.
Present.
All right. Secretary Butler.
Present, and I can hear you clearly.
Commissioner Brooks. Commissioner Buford. Commissioner Cepeda.
Here.
Commissioner Cox.
Here, and I can hear you.
Commissioner Curtis. Once more, Commissioner Curtis. Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Griggs. Commissioner Rhodes.
Here.
Commissioner Thomas.
Here, and I can hear you.
Commissioner Wheat. And Commissioner Pettis is here. We have a quorum. First item on our agenda, request approval of the minutes from the previous meeting held on September 8th. Commissioners, you've had an opportunity to review the minutes, and if there are no corrections, I'm looking for a motion to approve. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Commissioner Butler.
So moved by Commissioner Butler. Do I have a second?
Second.
State your name.
Thomas.
Seconded by Commissioner Thomas. So in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, all votes are to be conducted by roll call so that each member's votes on each issue can be identified and recorded. So please signify by saying yes or no or abstain. Vice Chair Newsom.
Yes.
Secretary Butler.
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis. Commissioner Rhodes.
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Bettis votes yes, and the motion passes. All right. The public was given an opportunity to provide written comments up to 24 hours prior to the start of this meeting through the CDC email address. cdc@cityofchicago.org. There was one written comment in the CDC box for this meeting. The note was from Mr. Arif Ali Virani and stated that he was the owner of the property at 8854 South Commercial Avenue. He expressed his interest in attending today's Zoom meeting and in selling the property to the city.
Chairman, we will,
I have the
will-
note. Does that just get entered in or should I read it? He is going to testify, is he?
he's going to be brought in to testify after the item.
Okay. Okay. All right. And so the CDC emergency rules require that any member of the public wishing to comment on an agenda item could do so by registering in advance at the CDC email box up to 24 hours before the start of today's meeting. There were no other written comments outside of the one, Mr. Arif Ali Virani, and we will invite him again to speak following the staff presentation for agenda items E and F. Okay, new business. Our first item of new business on today's agenda is a request by the Department of Planning and Development, which is seeking authority to A, advertise the department's intention to enter into a negotiated sale with Friend Health Title Holding Corporation for the disposition of the city property located at 700 East 63rd Street in the West Woodlawn redevelopment project area, and to B, request alternative proposals, and to C, approve the sale of the property to Friend Health Title Holding Corporation if no responsive alternative proposals are received, and to D, negotiate a redevelopment agreement with Friend Health Title Holding Corporation for the redevelopment of the city property along with the developer-owned property located at 6250 South Evans Avenue in the West Woodlawn redevelopment project area and at 6250 South Cottage Grove Avenue located in the Woodlawn redevelopment project area, and to E, recommend to the City Council of the City of Chicago the designation of Friend Health Title Holding Corporation as developer if no responsive alternative proposals are received. Mr. Aaron Dorsey will present the staff report on behalf of the Department of Planning and Development. So Mr. Dorsey, when you're ready, you can go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you, Chairman. Is my slide deck coming across?
Yes.
Good afternoon, Chairman Pettis, members of the Commission. For the record, my name is Aaron Dorsey, Financial Planning Analyst with the Department of Planning and Development. With me today, I have representatives from Friend Health and from DL3 Realty, who is Friend Health's development consultant. The resolution before you requests a recommendation to the City Council for the sale of 700 East 63rd Street, the designation of Friend Health Title Holding Corporation as the developer for the Friend Health Medical Campus project, and the authority for the Department of Planning and Development to negotiate a redevelopment agreement with the developer. The proposed project is in the Woodlawn community area, the 20th Ward, and straddles the Woodlawn and West Woodlawn TIF districts. The districts were established in 1999 and 2010 respectively, with the goals to stimulate new development and concentrate commercial uses near the intersection of 63rd Street and Cottage Grove Avenue. The proposed project also conforms to the plan's land use maps, which call for mixed-use development at the subject site. The project is located at the northwest corner of the intersection of 63rd Street and Cottage Grove Avenue and spans over two parcels located at 6250 South Cottage Grove Avenue and 700 East 63rd Street. The developer plans to acquire the vacant land located at 700 East 63rd Street and from the city and the adjacent vacant parcel and commercial building at 6250 South Cottage Grove from a private seller. Here you can see the current exterior condition of the commercial building. And here you can see the current condition of the vacant parcel to the west. The developer is proposing to redevelop the city land and other properties into an 128,000 square foot medical campus including the redevelopment of the commercial building into a 45,000 square foot health clinic and the construction of an 83,000 square foot medical annex building that includes approximately 16,500 square feet of space, consisting of administrative offices, a dental suite, retail and community space, and an integrated parking structure. The development is expected to relocate and retain 233 full-time positions, create 43 full-time jobs, and create 50 to 75 construction jobs. Here's a site plan showing the layout of the health clinic. And here is a site plan showing the layout of the medical annex building and parking structure. Following slides are renderings of the health clinic and the medical annex building. And here is a view of the health clinic looking southwest from Cottage Grove. And this is the health clinic looking east from, or looking northwest from 63rd Street. This is the health clinic looking east from Evans Avenue. This is the medical annex building looking west from Evans Avenue. And the medical annex building looking northwest from 63rd Street. Friend Health Title Holding Corporation is a single-purpose entity created for the development of the Friend Health Medical Campus. It is wholly owned by Friend Family Health Center Incorporated, which is a network of community health centers created in 1997. The developer has retained DL3 Realty as the development consultant and Powers & Sons as the general contractor. The development team is also seeking new market tax credits for the deal through SCORE and Urban Development Fund. The total project cost is estimated to be approximately $37 million. The $8 million in city funds will be paid as a reimbursement of TIP eligible costs. The Department of Planning and Development intends to negotiate a tax increment financing redevelopment agreement with the developer. The city intends to provide the developer with TIF assistance in an amount not to exceed $8 million or 21.4% of the total project cost. The city funds will be provided from the Woodlawn TIP District's area-wide increment and provided in 3 payments. The first payment of $2 million will be paid into a construction escrow account. The second payment of $4 million will be paid upon certificate of completion. And the last payment of $2 million will be paid upon the anniversary of the certificate of completion. In addition, the developer is requested to purchase the city-owned land for $1, providing an estimated land write-down of $290,999. The TIF funds and the land write-down together are approximately 22.2% of the total project cost. Aside from the funds into escrow, TIF funds for the project will not be dispersed until construction is complete. The health clinic is operational and 75% of the project square footage is occupied. The project will have ongoing operations and occupancy covenants that ensure the developer will continuously operate the project in the manner agreed upon with the City of Chicago and ensure that the health clinic and medical annex building are occupied and open for business. Additionally, the final RDA will include restrictions on the sale of the project throughout the compliance period. The proposed project will allow the following benefits to be realized. The project will bring a health clinic to a medically underserved area and increase access to immediate acute care, imaging services, family medicine, and other areas. The project is the second of 4 projects located at the intersection of 63rd Street and Cottage Grove Avenue and will serve as a catalyst for future development within the area and stabilization of the corridor. And the project will also develop a large vacant parcel and a large vacant building. DPD has thoroughly reviewed the proposed project, the qualifications of the development team, the financial structure of the project, and the project's conformance with the redevelopment area plans. And DPD recommends that the CDC recommend to the City Council the sale of 700 East 63rd Street and the designation of Friend Health Title Holding Corporation as the developer for the Friend Health Medical Campus project. DPD also requests that the Commission provide DPD with the authority to negotiate, execute, and deliver on the City's behalf redevelopment agreement with Friend Health Title Holder Corporation for the project. Thank you, and I welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. Would any representative from Friend Health like to say a statement or speak?
Yes, good afternoon, Chairman Perez, other commissioners, DPD representatives, and others on the call. I am Vernita Backus, CEO of Friend Health, and thank you for this opportunity to speak with you this afternoon. Friend Health is a nonprofit, federally qualified health provider that has been in business since 1997, providing critical access to quality health care in medically underserved communities in Chicago. Friend Health is independently governed by a board of directors representing the community and patients it serves. Friend Health is not an affiliated entity of the University of Chicago. We currently operate 7 clinics in Chicago, serving over 40,000 unique patients. 89% of our patients are low-income individuals, and 96% are African American or Hispanic. The city's financial support we are seeking will allow Friend Health to open this new state-of-the-art medical campus to expand our scope of services, including dental, behavioral health, pediatric care, women's, and family health. Over the years, as we have provided more services to a greater number of community residents, we have outgrown our main facility at 55th and Cottage Grove. The new headquarters will not only include the move of 270 plus jobs to the 63rd and Cottage Grove intersection, but enable Friend Health to provide a full range of health services necessary to holistic patient care. The current COVID-19 pandemic has amplified the health disparities in our minority and underserved communities. We believe our investment and the financial support from the City of Chicago will go a long way in helping to address these longstanding health disparities. Friend Health is very excited about this move and the potential it offers to provide an expanded menu of services in the heart of Woodlawn. We appreciate your consideration, and we look forward to working with you to bring this vision of expanded medical resources in Woodlawn to life. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. At this point, I want to recognize is Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor from the 20th Ward present? And if so, if you'd like to make a comment.
I am here, Commissioner. Hold on. I'm here, Commissioner, thank you. Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor, the 20th Ward. I just would like to say that I'm excited about this clinic being built in our ward. It is a clinic that I used before I had good health insurance. And so I do know what this clinic will bring to the table in the ward. While I did have some reservations about the amount of TIF dollars this project is asking for, my community voted to have this because my community makes the decision and they have the voice. And so I'm excited about this opportunity for Friends of Health to be in the 20th Ward. And I look forward to working with them as well as DL3 to make sure that folks in my community have access to the job and the space. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Alderwoman Taylor. Commissioners, questions? If you can press the raise your hand feature. Any questions, commissioners? I'm opening the floor.
Commissioner Perez, Vice Chairman.
Vice Chair Newsom, go ahead.
I have a few questions I'd like to ask of Mr. Dorsey. First of all, can you share with me whether or not the moving or transferring of the 233 jobs that are being retained, are they coming from the 7 present locations to this proposed new location?
This is, Mr. Dorsey, I can answer that. This is Vernita Backus.
Yes.
And most of them are coming from 55th and Cottage Grove. And then we have a location at 63rd and Harper. And then there will be new positions added as well. So
Okay.
the remaining sites will remain open, the other sites.
Okay. I noticed in the proposed project that there was the inclusion of community space. And so I'm wondering if this is actual office space, is this multi-purpose space, meeting space, what kind of space? And then also it makes mention of retail space. And I'm curious as to what type of retail will be housed in the new development.
Commissioner Newsom, Chairman, Commissioner Cox, Alderman Taylor, Vernita Backus, I can answer that question if you'd like. First of all, the project is really one that engages
Mr. Walker, just state your name.
Yes, hi, Leon Walker, Managing Partner of DL3 Realty, Development Consultant for Friend Health. The project is one that engages the community on a number of levels, not just on the healthcare side of it, but as you mentioned, accurately, in terms of retail and activation of the 63rd Street intersection near the Green Line there, as well as along 63rd Street, there are opportunities for local retailers. And we worked closely with the alderman and had community meetings to discuss this matter. We are dedicating that space first to local community businesses that'll be compatible with the healthcare services that we're offering here. So, for example, on the 63rd and Cottage Street, Cottage side, facing east, we've been having talks with something like a grab and go, a smoothie shop, something that would be, consistent with the Healthy Campus, presentation here by Friend Health. The community room that you spoke about or you mentioned, that is really dedicated. Friend Health offers a lot of trainings, from prenatal trainings to other community-wide events where they're sharing preventative health information with the community. But in addition to that, the room and space will be available for scheduling of community events and the local groups, community groups that would want to use the space will be made available to them as well.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Commissioners, any other questions? You can chime in, or if you want to.
Commissioner Butler, I think I raised my hand on the screen, but
Okay, sorry, I didn't see it.
Are failing me today. Just a couple questions for the department. In the information that was sent to us last week, it indicated that the general contractors Brown and Moman, but today's presentation, I believe a different contractor was indicated. Can you clarify that?
Yes. For the record, Aaron Dorsey, yeah, my apologies. Brown and Moment was added incorrectly. Powers and Sons is the correct general contractor for the project.
Thank you. Another question I have is with respect to the level of city assistance of approximately 20%. I believe that was the statistic that the department stated as part of its presentation. How does that level of assistance compare with other projects in terms of overall project costs?
I believe in terms of the 20% range is on the, I wouldn't say the lower end, but kind of the more reasonable area for what the department strives for. So certainly 20% is a good mark for the department to look to subsidize.
Okay, and I think my last question at this point is with respect to the detailed project budget that was presented in the information that was sent to the commission last week. In terms of soft costs, the developer fee of approximately 5%, the community organization is the developer, and then there's a developer consultant. What is the split on that developer fee, and any of those funds being contributed back to the project in the form of equity?
I don't believe that any.
Aaron Dorsey. Yeah, I can answer that as well. Commissioner Butler, no, those funds are to cover all of the development services as well as project management services for the project at 5%.
And for the record, your name is Mr.
Leon Walker, Managing Partner, DL3 Realty Development Consultant for Friend Health.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions? If not, I got a question.
Mr. Vice Chairman, it's Commissioner Brooks.
Commissioner Brooks,
If the record
go ahead.
states, one, that I am present, and secondly, because of knowing the development consultant, Leon Walker and DL3, I would like to abstain from the vote. I will say that any project that he and his organization are a part of is a great benefit to the city and to the organization that he is involved with. So even though I wouldn't formally vote, I would informally give it a thumbs up and my blessing.
Okay, let the record reflect Commissioner Brooks has joined the meeting. Commissioner Cox, you have your hand up?
Yes, I just wanted to frame a little bit. I think it would be a shame if we did not highlight what this project represents for Woodlawn and quite frankly for the South Side. You have a African-American owned commercial real estate developer who's done extraordinary work on the South Side, leading this effort. It is being anchored by Friends Health for a proven healthcare provider of the South Side. The building was designed by an African-American owned design company, Moody Nolan. And it's being constructed by an African-American owned contractor. We could not help, we couldn't hope for a better launch for the continued development of Woodlawn. I would also state that there's also a precedent being set here that instead of a developer coming to the city to buy land to build a parking lot, this development represents the first kind of neighborhood scale parking structure that infuses commercial and retail activity on its ground floor. So it is the most efficient use of the city's land resources. And it's appropriate that to set this model of what truly equitable transit-oriented development looks like, that this TIF request would be supported. So I'm just trying to hold back my elation of this type of project. And I hope it is a sign of what we can expect from areas in the South Side and the West Side as they develop. So I appreciate everyone who've worked really diligently to make this happen. I think the Alderman has taken the time to thoroughly understand it. And I'm thrilled that her community supports this because that 20% is that's the kind of contribution that we expect, you know, in other areas. Very often, there takes a larger public subsidy to make something like this happen, and the multiplier effect of $8 million to produce a $37 million investment is something that I hope will be the model for other developments on the South Side and the West Side. So I just wanted to put this in context because there's something exemplary going on here, and it needed to be stated for the record. So thank you and congratulations.
Very good, Commissioner Cox. Yeah, I'd like to add on here. So Ms. Backus, Vernita, just in terms of just the amount of volume, I think you may have mentioned it, the amount of patients you see annually. What is it and what do you see it increasing now with this additional square footage that you're adding?
Yes, we currently see across our system approximately 40,000 unique patients, and our anticipated patients, I believe, and my CFO is on the line, will go to over 50,000. Sabrina, can you confirm that? with this expansion because we will be adding additional medical providers to this location.
This is Sabrina Moore, CFO for Friend Health. And Ms. Backus, that is correct. We anticipate upwards to 60 to 70,000 users that we'll be able to serve as we're adding additional providers to work at the facility, as well as we're adding, we'll be adding ultimately dental as well and expanding our behavioral health services.
Excellent. Excellent. It's a lot more foot traffic.
Commissioner,
Yes.
this is Commissioner Thomas. And
Thomas.
thank you. I am very familiar with this corner. I went to grade school down the street on the Ingleside from it. It is a corner that has been, that needed some help for quite a long time. And I think this would be the catalyst for a major corner, 63rd and College Grove. And I'm in support of it, and congratulations to all involved with this project.
If I see this correct, let the record reflect that Commissioner Davis has joined us. All right.
Chairman, also Commissioner Curtis joined us after the roll.
Yes, and let the record reflect Commissioner Curtis has joined us too. Commissioners, any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman Newsom, for the record, I'd like to disclose that I am very familiar with the developer as well. Am aware of the work that he has done throughout the South Side. I have had no participation whatsoever in this particular project with him. I am also familiar with the subcontractors. And so what I'd like to state for the record is that I see no conflict of interest, and I will be voting on the matter.
Okay. All right, Commissioners, if you have no other questions.
Mr. Chairman, this is Gwendolyn Hatton Butler.
Yes.
Given Vice Chair Newsom's comments, I feel compelled to also state that I'm very familiar with the developer. I'm engaged in a volunteer initiative with him that is supported by the Chicago Community Trust. I do not have any economic interests in this transaction or any of the other transactions or developments that DL3 Realty is engaged with. And so therefore I don't have any conflicts, and I will be voting on this proposal.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner LaTosha Thomas again, and I have the same knowledge and know the folks on this team, but I've never seen it as a conflict, given that I haven't worked on this deal at all and know nothing other than what was presented to us on this deal. I don't know that this is necessary to say, but because it's being put in the record with other commissioners, I feel that I need to do the same. I will be voting on this project.
I got you.
This is Commissioner Davis. I don't have any knowledge of the group, but just in an abundance of caution, might we think about the fact that if we already have enough votes that we may not necessarily need to ask our fellow commissioners to vote anyway? I just want to make sure that we are being cautious in the way that we're handling this.
Yes, I hear you. And I do want to respect the commissioners' requests and their statements as well, but we only have one that's going to be abstaining. So I still want to run through the emergency rules of calling the roll as well. All right, commissioners, if there's no other questions or comments, I'm going to call the item up for a vote. So the resolution before us requests authority for the Department of Planning and Development to do 5 things in A through E. A, advertise the department's intention to enter into a negotiated sale with Friend Health Title Holding Corporation for the disposition of the city property located at 700 East 63rd Street in the West Woodlawn redevelopment project area, and to B, request alternative proposals, and to C, approve the sale of the property to Friend Health Title Holding Corporation if no responsive alternative proposals are received, and to D, negotiate a redevelopment agreement with Friend Health Title Holding Corporation for a redevelopment of the city property located with the developer property located at 6250 South Evans Avenue in the West Woodlawn redevelopment project area and at 6250 South Cottage Grove Avenue located in the Woodlawn redevelopment project area. And to E, recommend to the City Council of the City of Chicago the designation of Friend Health Title Holding Corporation as developer if no responsive alternative proposals are received. Do I have a motion?
So move, Commissioner Butler.
Moved by Commissioner Butler. Do I have a second?
Second,
Seconded.
Davis.
Seconded by Commissioner Davis. Again, in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, all votes are conducted by roll call so that each member's vote on each issue can be identified and recorded. Please signify your vote by saying yes or no or abstain. Vice Chair Newsom,
Yes.
Secretary Butler,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks abstains. Commissioner Cepeda,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis. Commissioner Curtis, you're on mute. That sounded like you're underwater. We'll come back to you, Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Bettis votes yes. And again, once more, Commissioner Curtis.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So the motion passes. Congratulations. Sounds like a great project. Okay,
Thank
we're
you.
now
This
going to
is
switch
terrific.
over to our second agenda item here. The Department of Planning and Development is seeking authority to advertise and issue a request for proposals for the purchase and redevelopment of the property located at 1515 West 47th Street in the 47th Ashland, in the 47th Ashland Street Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area. Ms. Sonia Eldridge will present the staff report on behalf of the Department of Planning and Development. Ms. Eldridge, when you're ready, you can begin.
Thank you, Chairman. My apologies for the delay. Good afternoon, Commissioners, CDC Commissioners. For the record, my name is Sonia Eldridge, and I am a DPD planner for the Southwest region. In August of this year, my colleague Luke Mish provided an Invest Southwest overview as it relates to our RFP strategy. We'd like to give you a brief refresher on the ISW RFP process, as our next 4 presentations, including my own, will be requesting your authorization to issue and advertise 4 additional RFPs beginning November 30th, 2020. As you know, the goal of Invest Southwest is to marshal the resources of multiple city departments, community organizations, and corporate partners toward 10 neighborhoods on Chicago's south and west sides. The program also strives to reactivate neighborhood cores that have historically served as focal points for pedestrian activities, shopping, services, transportation, public spaces, and quality of life amenities for residents.
Excuse me, Ms. Aldridge, are you going to be showing us slides? Because we just see
Can you see the slides? I'm sorry.
not. Just want to double check.
Just a second, but my apologies.
Sonia, once you open the file, this is tech support. Once you open the
Yes.
file, then when you click on share screen, go to the advanced, or you can just select that application when you click on share screen.
Not sure why, I apologize, everyone. I'm not sure why I haven't presented on Zoom much, mostly just Teams. I have the file open.
And click on share screen, and then once you click on share screen, you see all the different applications that are running on your computer. Just select that file that you opened.
There it is. I apologize. Here we are. Can you see the screen now, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
I do apologize, everyone. Okay, let me start us. I suppose I could keep going. I'll keep going here. My apologies, everyone. Okay, so one of our key program strategies to catalyze investment in Invest Southwest communities is the issuance of RFPs. The preferred uses outlined in the RFP are directly shaped through community input and an ongoing community engagement process. We have also coupled this with a description of available financial incentives to promote utmost financial feasibility for proposed projects. In August, my colleagues released three RFPs in Austin, Inglewood, and Auburn Gresham. Let me make this. This month, with your approval, we hope to release 4 additional RFPs for New City, North Lawndale, South Chicago, and Bronzeville. With your approval, this will be the timeline for the RFP process. Input gathered from community engagement sessions is being used to craft the development goals outlined in the RFP, which will be released November 30th, 2020. RFP pre-conference meetings will be held in mid-January 2021. Responses will be due March 30th, 2021. DPD will then evaluate and shortlist responses. Finalists will present their proposals to the community for feedback. Proposals will then be ranked according to highest and best use of the site, quality, and alignment with community development goals outlined in the RFP. The strongest proposal will then be selected from this pool of responses. Community engagement will be ongoing throughout. If there are no questions, I will proceed with the RFP presentation. The resolution before you would authorize DPD to advertise and issue a request for proposals for the purchase and redevelopment of a city-owned lot located at 1515 West 47th Street. The proposed RFP site is vacant city-owned land located at 1515 West 47th in Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor's 20th Ward in the 47th Ashland TIF District and is zoned B3-2 Neighborhood Shopping District. The market value is approximately $387,000 according to a 2018 appraisal. DPD is currently awaiting a current appraisal report for this site. The project site is denoted in red on this aerial map, which also shows the existing context and scale of surrounding buildings in the Invest Southwest corridors. And the site is currently zoned B3-2 Neighborhood Shopping District. The project site is 14,872 square feet and could potentially feature a variety of uses, including retail, office, community space, and residential within a multi-story mixed-use building. The DPD Southwest Planning Region team has been working in partnership with the Chicago Central Area Committee, architecture and planning firm Lamar Johnson Collaborative, Landmark Development, Compass, and Sam Schwartz to develop these scenarios with input from back-of-the-yard stakeholders. An Invest Southwest Community Visioning Workshop was held October 15th, during which the specific site was discussed. The community provided their input on the types of development and uses they would like to see at this location. A week after the workshop, the monthly Invest Southwest Roundtable meeting was held to recap and confirm community input for this location. To ensure clarity of the RFP site and future uses for development at this site, a second public engagement session was held Thursday, November 5th. We'll be hosting our monthly roundtable conversation next Friday, November 20th, to review the RFP draft with community stakeholders as well. Our community engagement process has been robust throughout and has also included one-on-one stakeholder interviews with business owners and residents in partnership with the Office of Alderwoman Taylor, in addition to standing monthly roundtable meetings. Here are some images of the project site. The image on the left shows a view looking south along 47th Street, and the image on the right is the view looking northeast along Justine Street. Based on the visioning workshop on October 15th and the follow-up workshop on November 5th, the design team, Lamar Johnson Collaborative, has developed some preliminary massing concepts for the site. This slide shows a massing concept for the site, which includes local business space on the ground floor illustrated in red and residential on the upper floors illustrated in yellow. This image shows the massing concept view from the back and includes proposed green space for tenants. The selected proposal must be in conformance with the goals of Invest Southwest, the 47th Ashland TIF redevelopment plan, the development principles established to guide development of this property as laid out in the RFP, and DPD's neighborhood design guidelines. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time. I welcome any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Aldred.
As for the mix-up earlier.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor, if you're still on, if you'd still like to say something about this project, feel free to do so.
Sure, thank you, Commissioner. Once again, I'm excited about development that happens with the community. And so I am excited about the RFP process. I feel like we're in a space to agree to disagree on maybe what that vision should look like. But I'm excited that this team and the Department of Planning is willingly working with the community, because too often we have development that happens. And so I always use this this example when talking about development. Over in back of the yards, there was this huge laundromat, and I lived maybe 5 miles away, so it was a laundromat I used as well. And it became vacant. And once it reopened back up as a Popeye's chicken. And so one of the Latinx members in the community was like, with all due respect, Alderwoman, we don't eat this smoked chicken. Why would they turn it into that? And so this is an opportunity for us to work with the department and the Invest in Southwest groups and the community to make sure that this space becomes something that the community wants it to become. And so we've signed folks up to be a part of this process, and we're excited. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Alderman Taylor. Commissioners, any questions? Not all at once.
I'm going to chime in, not with a question. This is Commissioner Cox. And I know that the staff is planning to present all four, but I would like the commissioners to take note of what the alderman stated, that this is a really unprecedented format in city development in Black and Brown communities, that before an RFP is even released for city-owned land, that you have a collective visioning process so that residents can help shape development that is in their community. And at the same time, be incredibly transparent about whatever the challenges and opportunities that development presents. So I think of it as an opportunity for us all to learn some new things. And as people understand the nature of development, they can hold it accountable to the kinds of development they want to see. So, so much of what we're trying to establish is new. Other cities don't do it this way, but I am convinced that residents should be full partners in development. And this is the way that we are testing to see how this works. So it is a pilot, it is an experiment, but with the support of our aldermen and support of the community stakeholders, we are setting up any development for success. So I just want to put that frame so I don't have to repeat it for the next 3. And I don't want anyone to think that this is just standard practice. Chicago is establishing a whole new way of investing equitably with residents and aldermen at the table.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Latasha?
Commissioner Thomas?
Thank you. I agree with Commissioner Cox. However, I know that in a lot of communities, aldermen get their input from the community first before they say yes to a development plan. So making this the thing that the department requires is very helpful. On the information that we received last Friday, the program suggestion had community office space and green space and something in pink that I can't read, art production or some sort. But that's not what was presented to us now, the visioning. What has changed in the couple of business days since we were presented with the documents?
Absolutely, Commissioner Thomas. So since that time, we've had our second engagement session on November 5th. So we revisited those massing, the massing that you saw in the previously sent email, and we've tweaked it a bit. That's all. So since that time, we've come upon these 50 units here of residential, and the ground floor will still be commercial space for small business, specifically the existing local businesses is the idea, expansion there. There still may be opportunity for community space. We just haven't really nailed down the exact location. So this is all very conceptual that you see in front of you.
Absolutely. But are you saying that the community asked for more residential units? You had a session and the community, some community representation asked for more residential units. Is that what you're saying?
Yes and no. So there's a need for higher quality housing in the neighborhood. The housing stock on average is over 100+ years old. And in order to make this project work financially, we need LIHTC. And so the 50 units is sort of like our threshold there. So that's why but there's still ground floor space that will be reserved specifically for small business in the community. And we haven't, like I said, we're still working on the renderings this week actually with the consultant team. So we're still trying to identify where we may move community space, like a multi-purpose room. So it hasn't been X'd out of the scenario. It's just not finalized yet.
But you are saying that 50 units is probably what you need for LIHTC.
That what? I apologize.
I'm getting feedback. I don't know from where, but
I'm sorry.
50.
That last statement, Commissioner Thomas, I'm sorry.
You're saying that you need about 50 units for the LIHTC that you were trying to see. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
All right, commissioners, any other questions? I have a quick question, Commissioner Cox, you had mentioned about obviously there's three facets of this development, as is with the next three as well. Under the design guidelines, is it very much explicitly written in there about encouraging the participation of minority and women business architectural firms, as well as general contractors for each of these, just like the previous example in the previous item?
Yes, in fact, there's very specific language that talks about local wealth creation, local partnerships. It talks about Latino and African American developers in ownership roles. There is a full criteria listing that makes it very, very explicit that we are encouraging partnerships that look like the communities they are seeking to develop in.
Sure. Okay. Commissioners, any other questions? If not, I'm going to call the item up for a vote. The resolution before us requests authority for the Department of Planning and Development to advertise and issue a request for proposal for the purchase and redevelopment of the property located at 1515 West 47th Street and the 47th Ashland Street Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner,
Brooks.
state your name.
Brooks.
Commissioner Brooks. Do I have a second?
Commissioner Butler, second.
Thank you, Secretary Butler, seconds. And again, in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, all votes are to be conducted by roll call so that each member's vote on each issue can be identified and recorded. So please signify your vote by saying yes or no or abstain. Vice Chair Newsom.
Yes.
Secretary Butler.
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
And Commissioner Pettis votes yes. The motion passes. All right, so we're now going to go to new business items C and D. The third and fourth items of the new business will be handled together as they are related. For our third item of new business, planning and development is requesting authority to acquire property located at 3410 West Ogden Avenue in the Ogden-Pulaski Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area. And following this acquisition request, the fourth item of new business on our agenda will request authority for the planning department to issue a request for proposals to select a developer to purchase and redevelop the acquisition parcel along with the parcels that are already owned by the city. Brian Hacker will present back-to-back staff reports for both of these items on behalf of the Department of Planning and Development before the commissioners voting. All right. So following each of Brian's presentations, we'll have an opportunity to ask questions. When all questions have been answered for both agenda items, we will hold a vote on both items, one after another. So Brian, you could please make your first presentation for the requested acquisition authority.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon to members of the commission. Everyone, Chairman, can you see the slideshow just to confirm here?
Yes.
Okay. As the chairman said, I am here today to request two things: acquisition authority for a parcel located on the Ogden Avenue and West Southwest corridor, as well as authorization to issue an RFP for a development site on the corridor. So I'm going to begin by showing a few slides here that provide some background on the development site and the surrounding community area here. So this is located in North Lawndale. in the 24th ward, which is Alderman Michael Scott Jr.'s ward. And it's going to be for 7 parcels that are in the on the Ogden Avenue and West Southwest corridor here. Just for your reference here, the map here shows you the boundary of the Invest Southwest corridor on Ogden Avenue. It runs from the east on Kedzie Avenue to the west out to Pulaski near the intersection of Ogden, Cermak, and Pulaski, and that roughly in that area. Here you can see the project site. It's located between Homan and Trumbull Avenues on the north side of Ogden Avenue. And for the details of the site itself, as you can see in the image, it's a—
I'm sorry, this is Commissioner Butler. If you're sharing a screen, I don't see it.
Oh, you don't? I apologize.
No, actually,
Is
you
that—
can see it.
Can everyone else see it? I can see it.
I can see it.
Okay, I can see it now. Thank you.
I see it.
I see it now. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, this is a site. It's just over 40,000 square feet. It's currently completely vacant, and the site includes properties that front on Ogden Avenue, as you can see in the larger area that's outlined, as well as another property that is city-owned that fronts onto Trumbull Avenue, which is 1819 South Trumbull. By vacating the this will take place as part of the development process. We'd have the developer vacate that alley that's currently there and align it with the alley that is provides access on the east to Homan Avenue. So that would allow for the consolidation of these parcels to create a larger opportunity site for a new development there. Just for reference, this is an image of the property from Ogden Avenue. As you can see, it's largely vacant and it has been vacant for quite a while, with the exception of the one property where you can see the trees and the concrete pad that was demolished several years ago. A building was there that was demolished, I should say. For further context on the site here and on the corridor, this is, as you saw earlier, towards the eastern end of the Ogden and West Southwest corridor. 3 blocks to the west is the Central Park Pink Line station. So this is an opportunity for transit-oriented development. Next to the Pink Line station there is Lawndale Christian's Farm on Ogden, which is a urban agriculture facility that's got a very strong community component to it, and provides a farmers market and other access to healthy food opportunities. There is a recently built charter school just to the east, a couple of blocks, and it's across from the 10th District Police Station. So to specifically address the acquisition authority request, this slide here shows the breakdown of the city-owned parcels versus the privately owned parcels. So you can see here the justification for why we were drawn to this site as an RFP opportunity. The city has control over all of these parcels, with the exception of the one that's outlined in yellow, which is 3410 West Ogden. And this is just a single parcel that is owned by a private owner. And we sent a acquisition letter giving notice that we'd be pursuing acquisition authority from CDC and City Council, and have not heard back from the private owner. So I'm going to move on to the second item to request authority to issue the RFP. So similar to, I'm sorry, what's that, Chairman?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. As Sonia laid out, we've also gone through a pretty rigorous community process as part of this project, and determining, what would be the ideal location for issuing an RFP and what would the community like to see on that site. You can see here, you know, the word cloud that's on the slide is it came out of our visioning workshop that we held in the middle of October, back on the 19th. But going back even several months, you know, we've been preparing for a project like this by studying the previous planning studies for North Lawndale, you know, getting having several engagement activities at the Invest Southwest kickoff meeting for the West Side, which was held back in January. We hold monthly community roundtable meetings with a diverse group of stakeholders for North Lawndale and specifically for the Ogden Avenue corridor. And we have been, you know, slowly working up to the release of this RFP in our discussions in those meetings. So the community has been well informed on our intent for this project. We also conducted stakeholder interviews with key stakeholders around the visioning workshop. And then we will also be sharing the draft RFP at the November Community Roundtable. And I also have another community meeting planned with a local organization on November 19th, the North Lawndale Community Coordinating Council, NLCCC, to further discuss the project and get feedback. As part of the workshop and our RFP process, we did a market analysis of retail leakage here, and we found that North Lawndale is pretty starved for retail and food and drink uses. So we see that there's an opportunity here to bring some much needed amenities to the community with, you know, on an annual basis, roughly $100 million of consumer spending, you know, going outside of North Lawndale, and which, you know, you can see in that image of the corridor, there's a lot of vacant land there. You know, we also see this as an opportunity not just to provide amenities for community members, but also to build local wealth by uplifting local businesses and putting a priority on, you know, inclusion for the community throughout the entire RFP and development process. We've been getting design assistance from Studio Gang Architects, who generously offered to assist us with this process. As you can see here, you know, they've done some excellent research and on the history of the corridor and study into the urban form of the corridor and how it's, you know, looked historically up through today. You know, some of the images you can see here, they found a cool historic image on the left there that shows that Ogden Avenue used to be a much more pedestrian oriented street with a streetcar running down the middle. They've done a thorough study of the development site on the right side, and they also looked at the south side of the street as well to you know, consider the opportunity for creating a new node of new mixed-use node of activity on the corridor. They generated these 3 development concepts that you see for our visioning workshop, offering different levels of density and use intensity. You know, going from higher on the left side down to lower on the right side. And these development concepts included, you know, a mix of uses depending on the concept. And right now, based on the community feedback that we received, we're working with Studio Gang to refine down what would be kind of like a altered concept of one of these images, particularly the one in the middle right here. So it'll be kind of a revised version of what we showed at the workshop based on the feedback that we received. And we're, you know, kind of hashing out the, you know, square footages of the uses that we're recommending, but it will be a mixed use project that we're recommending that includes, you know, mixed income housing potentially, as well as ground floor retail and potentially office use as well. We also asked Studio Gang to take a look at the roadway as well. If you're familiar with Ogden Avenue at this location, it's pretty daunting for pedestrians. It you know, poses challenges for you know, for transit as well because of the engineering of the roadway with the service drives and kind of a complicated traffic pattern with the through lanes. It's under jurisdiction of CDOT and IDOT. So CDOT has control over the service drives there, and the center lanes are the jurisdiction of IDOT. So we were looking at a phased approach of how we might approve the roadway and take a look at this as kind of a test case for how we can make Ogden Avenue a much more community-oriented, multimodal thoroughfare. And so these concepts show, you know, the result of that. And these recommendations, these images, and all of this community feedback, and you know, will be synthesized into ultimately into an RFP document that we're working on drafting right now, and that, you know, this meeting is going to be integral to getting your approval. And so I just show the images here from the first round of RFPs that were issued for Laramie State Bank, and you know, this document is going to be very thorough and provide a real inspired, community-oriented vision for what the development possibilities are on this site. And with that, I'll wrap up my presentation and hand it back to you, Chairman. Thank you very much for hearing me.
Thank you, Mr. Hacker.
Chairman,
Okay.
This is Bob. I just wanted to note that Commissioner Buford has joined the meeting.
Okay, let the record reflect that Commissioner Buford has joined us. So following up, Mr. Hacker, is Alderman Scott of the 24th Ward present? And if so, would he like to say something? If not, commissioners, any questions?
This is Commissioner Davis. I have a question. So I am a member of the board of Legacy Charter School, so I'm in that area a lot, and it is an area that needs some revitalization. My concern is that there was a parcel that was privately owned. It's always concerning to me if the person who owns it is not a part of this process, and we're effectively just kind of taking that land. And so I want to know what has been done to try to get that person on board. We've had to do that when we built Legacy Charter School in that same area. And it's a little bit daunting because some of those folks don't live in the state, and they just, you know, they kind of tax grab those parcels and they really don't want them. But I want to know what we've done to try to make sure that we went through a fair process there.
Yeah, thanks for your question, Commissioner. And I anticipated that this would come up. So just going on the basic information of you know, where the tax bill is sent to, the address is the parcel that we're pursuing authority for. So obviously that building has been demolished. There's no you know, there's no structure to send it to there. So we did do research looking into court documents and other documents from, like, you know, the Recorder of Deeds, and we were not able to dig up an alternate address or any you know, potential next of kin for the owner. So we've done our diligence at DPD to try to locate that owner. We have also engaged with the law department as well for them to scan documents, and we just haven't been able to uncover anything.
All right. Commissioners, any other questions?
Yes, this is Latasha.
Commissioner Thomas?
I think I read that there is a demolition lien on that one, Ken, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And do you know how long that lien has been in place, or when did we demolish the building?
I apologize. The year exactly is escaping me. I want to say, but it was within, like, the last 5 years.
Okay. So that means that, okay, so the law department may find something because they had to go in court before demolition. So We just want to make sure that the current owner is well advised that the city is going to take the property.
Yeah, it does indicate from the lien documents that we believe that the owner is deceased, and that's why we pursued next of kin who may have more information on who currently holds the deed to the property. So I wish that I had more conclusive information for you, but at this point, really all that I can tell you is that we've done our research into this and looked into it as thoroughly as possible. Like I said, at DPD and with the law department. But I do understand the concern. It's a concern for us as well.
Is there a something indicating the Alderman Scott's what he feels about this taking and then RFP for the project?
So yeah, I neglected to mention earlier, I didn't want to speak for Alderman Scott because I wasn't sure if he was going to be attending, but we in the West region, we work very closely with Alderman Scott. He has been aware of this project, well before we've shared it with the community, because, we've had thorough conversations with him around the different opportunity sites on the corridor. And, we've also engaged him for his, thoughts on what, the best use of this property could be, what the opportunities are that are out there. So, not to definitively speak for him, but, we do feel that he is, strongly in support of this project. And he's been a part of the process the entire way.
Is there some letter of support or anything, Chairman?
Brian, is there a letter of support in the packet?
It's not in the packet, but I actually currently have a request to the alderman to get a letter of support. I just don't have the signed document, but I would be happy to distribute that out once we have it.
All right. And commissioners, any other questions? I don't see anyone raising their hand. If not, again, we're going to call this item up for a vote separately, and then we're going to.
I'm sorry. I have one other question. I was on mute. I apologize.
Go for it.
This is Commissioner Davis. As it relates to the street study, the way that the traffic will flow and all that, how is that going to work in terms of the way that it will be with this project? Is that something that you still have to get CDOT and IDOT to approve and be a part of? Is that just something that you are hoping to have done? Or is that definitely going to be a part of this project?
So yeah, that's a great question. We've been engaging with CDOT throughout this design process with Studio Gang. And like I mentioned, we do have visuals that were in our workshop presentation that showed, here are some steps that we could take in the near term that were related to the service drives, which are under CDOT's control. So, we see this as an opportunity to implement a pilot project. You've probably seen around town, in several locations where CDOT will kind of reclaim roadway space for pedestrian use using, striping and bollards. And we see this location as an opportunity to, begin with a kind of smaller format, test project by looking at what if we were to reclaim, a block of those service drives as a, kind of flexible pedestrian space. So that would be the first step. And, everything from there is a little bit kind of dependent on, the success of that. But I can't say with the larger, look at reformatting or redesigning and reconstructing Ogden Avenue, particularly in the through lanes, that would have to be part of a that would come out of a phase 1 engineering study that would be done, in partnership with both CDOT and IDOT, who controls that section of the roadway. So those bigger changes would come via a larger infrastructure project.
So not to beat the dead horse, I just not sure that I understand definitively the answer to my question. So I get it that would be great to try to do some kind of reconfiguration, but that's a bigger plan. That's a bigger undertaking. So with this particular project, the renderings show that this is what you would try to do, or has CDOT and IDOT said, we will definitely work with you on this particular part of Ogden, and we'll figure out sometime later how that might work for the whole bigger picture for Ogden Avenue, which is, quite frankly, extremely hard to traverse. So that's what I don't understand. Is this a yes for this project for CDOT and IDOT to do that with that stretch of Ogden?
If I might also, this is Commissioner Cox, if I might add, Brian has been project managing this, so he could offer the details, but we have been in conversation with the Commissioner of Transportation, Gia Biaggi, about how do we take control of the service lanes, which are under our jurisdiction, and for basically a 1-block stretch, try to test the potential to turn this more into a boulevard, increase the pedestrian right-of-way, in anticipation that we might be able to do a larger section. And so that has been, we have the support of Commissioner Biaggi to do that. Brian's team meets weekly with his counterparts in CDOT to test this idea. We know we can't, it's a major, very expensive undertaking to imagine that section for the entire stretch of the Invest Southwest corridor. So the way we do this is to enter it gently by creating one place, demonstrating its ability, and then that may get all the parties more comfortable with taking on a bigger chunk. We still have many steps to go, but the conversation is active, and we have the full support of our own Department of Transportation here in Chicago.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Commissioners, if there's no other questions, I'm going to call the item up for a vote. This is agenda item C for acquisition authority. So the resolution before us requests authority for the Department of Planning and Development to acquire the property located at 3410 West Ogden Avenue in the Ogden-Pulaski Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Commissioner Cepeda.
So moved by Commissioner Cepeda. Do I have a second?
Second by Commissioner Cox.
Second by Commissioner Cox. Okay, in accordance with the Open Meeting Act, I'm going to call the roll. Signify by saying yes or no or abstain. Vice Chair Newsom. You're on mute. I'll come back. Secretary Butler.
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Commissioner Buford.
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Perez votes yes. Vice Chair Newsom.
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes. Okay, we're now going to call up the agenda item D. The resolution before us requests authority for the Department of Planning and Development to advertise and issue a request for proposals for the purchase and redevelopment of the privately owned and city-owned properties located at 3400 to 3418 West Ogden Avenue and at 1819 South Trumbull Avenue in the Ogden-Pulaski Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area. Do I have a motion?
So move, Mr. Chair.
We'll move by Vice Chair Newsom. Do I have a second?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, Secretary Butler.
Seconded by Secretary Butler. Again, according with the Open Meetings Act, I'm now going to call the roll, signify by saying yes or no or abstain. Vice Chair Newsom,
Yes.
Secretary Butler,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
Commissioner Buford,
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda, Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas? Okay, Commissioner
Yes.
Rhodes votes. Commissioner Thomas votes yes. Commissioner Perez votes yes. Commissioner Cepeda? She's still with us? She's still with us. You're on mute. She may have stepped away. But either way, the motion passes. Okay, we're now going to new business item E. So similar to what we just did, the next two items of new business will be handled together as they are related. For our fifth item of new business, the Department of Planning and Development is requesting authority to acquire property located at 8840 South Commercial Avenue, 8844 South Commercial Avenue, 8850 South Commercial Avenue, and 8854 South Commercial Avenue in the Commercial Avenue Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area. Following this acquisition, the sixth item of new business on our agenda will request authority for the Planning Department to issue a request for proposals to select a developer to purchase and redevelop the acquisition parcels. Michael Panazek will present back-to-back staff reports for both items on behalf of the Department of Planning and Development before commissioners voting. Following each of Michael's presentations, commissioners, you have the opportunity to ask questions about each individual item. When all questions have been answered for both agenda items, we will hold a vote again for both items after the other. So Michael, you can begin your first presentation now. And this is in regards to the acquisition authority.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. May I confirm that I have a title screen up and that everyone can hear me?
Yes, the Westler Building.
Yes. Okay. I'm in the office and my colleagues are not, so I didn't know if this computer would work for that. Very happy about that. Again, my name is Michael Penasnak, representing the Department of Planning and Development to present two items related to property at 8840 to 8854 South Commercial Avenue. The first of which is a request for acquisition authority, and the second of which is a request for authorization to advertise and issue a request for proposals. So the project location is at the aforementioned address. There are 5 pins total. The acquisition authority is for 4 of them. The 4 private parcels are bisected by a city-owned parcel. This is in the 10th Ward, the South Chicago community area, the Commercial Avenue TIF district. It is owned B3-2. It is in the Commercial Avenue and West Southwest corridor. The subject property is at the intersection of East 89th Street and South Commercial Avenue. It is across the street from the very popular Kokula restaurant, and it is also immediately east of the new Pilsen Health Center. Has leased a old City of Chicago police station that they are turning into a community mental health center. So the subject property consists of 2 privately owned vacant buildings to the north. For the acquisition authority, a privately owned vacant parcel, and then a privately owned building to the south. So the ownership right now, Jose Garcia, who we have spoken to, who both at our in-person meeting and via email has said that he wants to participate in the RFP. owns 8840 and 8844. 8850 is owned by Vicente and Ruben Lara. While I have not had direct contact with either of them, I do have a signed certified mail receipt, so they have received the notice. And then on Monday, we learned that the Cook County Land Bank had taken 8854 South Commercial to tax deed. So they are now the owners of that property. Your materials might reflect a different ownership based on the information that we had at the time. So this is a street view. These buildings, those were built by the Weckler family at the start of the 20th century. This is the one-story private building on the corner. It is expected that a winning respondent would demolish this structure. There is a demolition order on it from the city. Here is the corridor facing northward. And then this would be from the, if you were standing in front of the Black Panther mural that you saw earlier on the one-story building, this would be the view south. You can see the 8900 and 9000 block of commercial are fairly vibrant, and I will touch in a moment about how we feel that the development of this corner will further really create a very active commercial node here. So the Department of Planning and Development recommends that the Community Development Commission approve the acquisition authority for 8840, 8844, 8850, and 8854 South Commercial Avenue. Thank you.
All right, Commissioners, as we previously stated, we'll delay the vote on this after hearing the staff report for the next item on the RFP. So Michael, you can go ahead with the RFP portion of it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, so the second item is the aforementioned request to advertise and issue a RFP. The RFP crafted by the Department of Planning and Development with assistance from our partners at the Chicago Central Area Committee, Gensler, Diane Legge Civic Design, Draper and Kramer, and the White Company, is composed of a 25,000 square foot area that will combine the adaptive reuse of the buildings to the north with new construction on the city-owned land, private vacant land, and what would have been the land at the intersection post demolition. Potential uses here include office, retail, community use, and second, upper floor residential that I will touch on later in this presentation. So the community has really shaped this RFP. In addition to our outreach with the Alderwoman, we've also held multiple Invest Southwest roundtables. We also held a community visioning workshop. We sent out a survey after that workshop that has been answered by 54 people. And we have a second visioning workshop scheduled November 18th, 2020. So we did review the past community plans. The 6 listed. We also included feedback from the comments at the Invest Southwest kickoff meeting back in January. So there are multiple massings that our partners have created, and this is the one that got the most feedback. So it would include a ground floor co-working space in the 8840 building. It would include ground floor commercial uses on the new construction. There would be approximately across the entire development about 55 units. The adaptive reuse would have 10 units and the new construction would have approximately 45. So the Department of Planning and Development recommends that the Community Development Commission approve the advertisement and issuance of the requests of proposals described herein. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Okay. Commissioners, questions?
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair Newsom, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I noted in our presentation that the projects have received support from both the alderman as well as community support. And the community support for one of the buildings, particularly the older building, which is actually a very handsome building with architectural features that are worth salvaging. I guess my question is, has any kind of cost analysis been done preliminarily with regard to rehabbing a building of this age as opposed to demolition and new construction?
So we are working on that with the White Company. As of right now, without final numbers, it does appear that there will be a slight premium to a rehab versus new construction. I can't speak to that entirely without the final numbers. I will say that adaptive reuse, it is a very nice looking building. The community agrees and would like to see that preserved. Now, if the numbers end up that it's going to cost us 4 times to restore it, what it would be to knock it down, that we may have to reconsider how heavily we weigh adaptive reuse. But yes, we're working on that. Preliminary numbers, slight premium. We hope that we're able to keep the building.
Thank you.
Is someone from Alderwoman Garza's office on, or is Alderwoman Garza on, Michael?
I do not believe so. I don't have a letter of formal letter of support. She has attended all of our events. She has never given us an objection, but I don't have the letter for you.
Okay. For full disclosure, this is my neighborhood. So a few questions and comments as well. Just in terms of just the analysis of the building and reuse of the Weckler building. When I started off my career in economic development, this was the community I worked in because I could walk to work. But we rehabbed 2 buildings at the end of Commercial Avenue and 89th Street, so just a block away. One was a 13-unit building and one was a 17-unit building. This is back in 1994, so before the war. And it was a gargantuan effort. Total, one building was, I believe, $2.5 million back then, and the other was just under $3 million back then. And then they fell into disrepair. That CDC group went belly up. And then for several years, it was vacant. And it was it was up, the not-for-profit wasn't dissolved yet fully, but someone else acquired it. I think Pangea Apartments purchased it over the last couple of years. So just in terms of just including that in the analysis of this, there really hasn't been, as you know, much development of this kind on the whole Southeast side as a whole. And part of that analysis, and I think I mentioned this to you as well, is that we as Southeast Siders, and I currently still live down there, over the last 30 years, most of the retail commercial development has happened in Northwest Indiana, to the extent where we jokingly say we have nice things in South Chicago. They just happen to be located in Northwest Indiana. But it becomes almost a myth for people north of 79th Street to understand how close Indiana is. And obviously for 30 years, people have forgotten that. But yet if you cross over the border, you'll see a multitude of retail and commercial and housing developments there, lakefront redevelopments, in the backyard of an oil refinery. So that type of analysis or understanding needs to be undertaken in this RFP process as you go through the evaluations, because like I said, they've added, I think close to easily probably 250,000 square feet of retail in Northwest Indiana. And again, it's 5-10 minutes away, and that easily gets forgotten. Sometimes it's a little quicker to go up to Hyde Park, which we also say we have nice things in South Chicago, located in Hyde Park. So we obviously need this type of investment. We need this type of focus. Everyone else has a 30-year jump on us. And so definitely want to commend you all to finally approaching it from this perspective. And so for full disclosure, that Cocula's restaurant has the best tortas and tacos in Chicago. So I just want to go on record to proclaim that now. Otherwise, my boys would not like that I didn't say that. Commissioners, any other questions?
Yes, I have my hand up. Thank you, Chairman, for that, putting this in context. We knew that there was a reason why the team had identified that historic property is because of the restaurant across the street. We want to make sure that they continue to be successful. I will say you probably are sensing an internal bias on the planning department to preserve and rehab first and build new construction second. We're fortunate that I think if CDC members support this, that we can assemble this opportunity so that it's both adaptive reuse and new construction. Which this area hasn't seen for some time. In some of the presentations, a study of the retail leakage was highlighted. Michael, you didn't mention anything about whether you had that kind of information to tell you what kind of uses there is a demand for. Were you not able, was your team not able to get to quantify what that leakage was like?
So we know that there is a substantial amount of leakage and that South Chicago is very much capable of having nice things directly in South Chicago. In terms of actual numbers, our team is still finalizing those.
Okay. And then secondly, I know that before the RFPs are released at the end of November, our internal economic development team will be running detailed pro formas on all of these to understand what level of incentives might be required to get these projects over the finish line. I think this is the second one where we have the unknown of adaptive reuse. Laramie Bank had a similar question about what one might find if you start rehabbing a historic structure. So this is a complex one that needs the cooperation of property owners to assemble an opportunity that can be catalytic. I did have one question, I guess it's a question. Are any of the 4 sites that are being RFP'd in opportunity zones? Do we have that information?
Question.
Are you, when you say 4 sites, do you mean the 4 parcels that I presented or the 4 sites being presented today?
That's right. The four sites being presented today, are any of them in an opportunity zone?
I do not, I do not believe that the Commercial Avenue Invest Southwest corridor is in a census tract that is a qualified opportunity zone.
Okay. I think it's just over to the east, Commissioner Cox, of this location.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions? Comments? Not at all. Okay.
I have a comment.
Commissioner Thomas, please.
Yes. I think this is a great idea, and I'm hoping and I'm gonna assume that your representation that the alderman is in support of this is true. I just think that we should have someone from the alderman's office or a letter of support in the future when we're presented items.
All right. Just another. Say again, Michael.
Oh, I was just acknowledging Commissioner Thomas's remarks.
Okay.
I've made a note of that.
Okay. And, you know, just as another comment in terms of the analysis, Commissioner Cox, for the economic evaluation of this, is the 8900 block there of Commercial Avenue, the east side of the street. You've got a wonderful success story in La Fruteria and Macias Produce, where it you know, started off 25, 30 years ago, someone purchasing it, a little store called El Caribe back then. And he realized that the only big products that moved there, he actually competed directly with the store that you're going to look to demolish. But he actually focused on just the West African Caribbean products. And lo and behold, it took off. And then over the course of the next 25 years, this gentleman then becomes the landowner of a few parcels there and some buildings there, but also increases his business to the West African Caribbean community, where people throughout Chicago and throughout the Chicagoland area now go to the 8900 block to buy you know, those products, which is home for them, and to the extent where he expands his business and becomes the largest importer of yams from Nigeria up in Pilsen. And so he's actually grown his business to not just be the retail component, but he becomes the wholesaler of this as well. But it started off right there. And on weekends, when you go down there, it is almost a snapshot of international interactions, retail interactions, with the amount of foot traffic there and motorist traffic as well. So this would really complement everything that's going on in that little note, as you mentioned. So just wanted to give you all some little bit more context on that. But if there is no other comments, commissioners, I'm going to call up now Mr. Arif Ali Virani to speak regarding the interest on this acquisition of the properties for agenda items E and F. I know, Mr. Virani, you've been very patient. So if you wanted to speak, please do so.
Yes.
You have 3 minutes.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This property, I got the letter. Actually, you says that the bank on that one is City of Chicago Bank. They take the tax deed and they own that one property. But I'm getting letter, and since that time I'm paying a lot of fines they're sending to us. Everything's I'm paying that one, and still if they own that one, I didn't get any letter from them since they took over. Supposed to they have to send me the letter. Hey, you owe the tax that much, and we borrowed that tax, and now we are the official owner. But still, the city of Chicago, if you go website, you can check it there. It's still our name showing to we are on the owner there. And I'm not in the Chicago. I moved from Chicago 2011, and since I'm here in Georgia, so I'm not going every time over there. So I want to sell this property, and at least I get something money from city of Chicago. So if they can take over my property, I don't mind.
Thank you, Mr. Virani. Michael, can you explain that? You said that the Cook County Land Bank acquired this on Monday. That's yesterday?
So they didn't acquire it on Monday yesterday. We learned of it yesterday officially from the land bank. When I went on the tax delinquency website, there was an unanticipated time lag. If my reading of the site is correct, this was the Cook County Land Bank took this to tax deed back in January. But that didn't show up on the tax delinquency site when I checked it on October 26th. We are obliged, as the commission knows, to send letters to the taxpayer of record and the recorded owners. In this case, from the Recorder of Deeds website and the assessor's website, that was to Mr. Varani. I'm very sorry about any confusion that this created for you or any inconvenience. But that is how this this happened.
So Michael, you can still follow up directly with Mr. Varani on this, correct?
Oh, absolutely. He has my contact information. I have his email, and this can, yeah, the land bank would probably have to explain their interest. But I can certainly, any questions he would have related to any dealings with the city, I'm more than happy to connect him to the right people.
Good, thank you.
All right, commissioners, any other questions or comments before I call the item up for a vote? Hearing none, the resolution before us then requests authority for the Department of Planning and Development to issue a request for proposals for the purchase and redevelopment of the property located at 8840 South Commercial Avenue, 8844 South Commercial Avenue, 8848 South Commercial Avenue, 8850 South Commercial Avenue, and 8854 South Commercial Avenue in the Commercial Avenue Tax Increment Refinancing Redevelopment Project area. Do I have a motion?
So moved by Commissioner Cox.
So moved by Commissioner Cox. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Commissioner Cepeda.
Second by Commissioner Cepeda. I'm now going to call the roll. Signify by saying yes, no, or abstain. Vice Chair Newsom? I'll come back. Secretary Butler?
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Commissioner Buford?
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda?
Yes.
Commissioner Cox?
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
And Commissioner Perez votes yes.
Commissioner Newsom votes yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Vice Chair Newsom. Again, the motion passes. Thank you, Michael. All right, we're now going to go to the last item of business is the Department of Planning and Development.
Chairman, I'm sorry. We were supposed to do 2 votes there. We were supposed to do one for acquisition authority before the RFP.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm totally, hold on a second here. Let me pull this one up. So that was for the RFP and this one's for the acquisition.
You can find that on page 12.
Yes. So then the item here before us is requesting, am I seeing that correctly? Give me a second. Got it. Request authority to acquire the property. Let me back up here. Let me say this properly. The resolution before us requests the Department of Planning and Development authority to acquire property located at 8840 South Commercial Avenue, 8844 South Commercial Avenue, 8850 South Commercial Avenue, and 8854 South Commercial Avenue in the Commercial Avenue Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area. Am I missing anything, Robert?
No, that's good. Thank you.
Okay. I'll now call the roll up again. Commissioner signify by saying yes or no or abstain. Vice Chair Newsom?
Yes.
Secretary Butler?
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Commissioner Buford?
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda?
Yes.
Commissioner Cox?
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
And Commissioner Bettis votes yes, and that motion passes. Okay, so now we'll move to our last item of business. The Department of Planning and Development is seeking authority to advertise and issue a request for proposals for the purchase and redevelopment of the property located at 449 through 51 East 47th Street in the 47th and King Drive Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area. Ms. Kimberly Morris will present the staff report for the request for proposals. Ms. Morris, when you're ready, you can begin.
Yes, I believe everybody can see my screen.
Yes, thank you.
Great. So good afternoon, Chairman and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Kimberly Morris, planner for the Southeast region in the Department of Planning and Development, Bureau of Planning. I will be presenting the last item on today's agenda, which is a request to advertise and issue a request for proposal for city-owned land located at 449 through 451 East 47th Street. The subject site is in the 3rd Ward under Alderman Pat Dow in the community area of Grand Boulevard. The site consists of 2 contiguous city-owned parcels that are currently zoned B1-5 in the 47th and King TIF district and is in a high traffic node along the Bronzeville Invest Southwest corridor. The Invest Southwest corridor for Bronzeville goes from Prairie to Cottage along both 43rd and 47th Street, and on Cottage Grove from 42nd to 47th Street. This RFP hopes to build upon recent successes of other city investments along the corridor, such as the redevelopment of the historic Rosenwald at 47th and Michigan, shops and lofts at 47th and Cottage Grove, and most recently, the mixed-use development of 4400 Grove at 44th and Cottage Grove. The subject site, which is approximately 26,000 square feet in size, is directly across the street from the Bronzeville Artist Lofts and directly east of the Harold Washington Cultural Center, making it of optimal size and location for development. For your reference, these are street views of the subject site, looking both east and west. The issuance of this RFP is a key component of Invest Southwest neighborhood revitalization strategy. As a part of this initiative, DPD, in partnership with CCAC and the architecture firm HOK, have conducted an intensive community engagement process around the development of this RFP. This included 2 neighborhood roundtables, a visioning workshop, and several one-on-one interviews with both community stakeholders and local officials. This process was able to determine the community's preferences for uses, density, scale, programs, in addition to the overall vision for the 47th Street corridor. As a part of CCAC's pro bono work, the development team was able to conduct in-depth market analysis to determine the most feasible development scenario based on current industry gaps and strengths. Looking at the amount of unmet retail spending in the neighborhood, the team was able to determine the amount of additional retail that the community can support. The team also studied current land uses to highlight opportunities for future development near the subject site. In addition, a multimodal analysis of local transit was conducted in order to determine the ease of access to and from the subject site. As a result, multiple development options were generated in order to illustrate potential development scenarios, both of which call for ground floor retail and approximately 60 units of new housing. From there, the consultant team then refined these development scenarios, incorporating feedback from a community engagement effort regarding preferred uses and site design. The team took into consideration the community's desire for walkability and made recommendations for how to improve the public way and make the streetscape more inviting and walkable. In addition to incorporating open space to develop into the development to allow for community gathering spaces as desired by community. The development concept presented today is a culmination of the community engagement process that has transpired over the last 2 months, representing priorities, themes, uses, and scale that the community preferred. The issuance of this RSP will serve as a development manual for respondents by showing what is desired by the community and feasible with coordinated city incentives. The department does not intend for the responses to mimic these visuals in the document, but rather proposals will be evaluated on their own merits, provided they meet the broader development and design principles laid out in the RFP. So the Department of Planning and Development recommends that the CDC approve the advertisement and issuance of the request for proposal described in this report for 449 through 51 East 47th Street. Thank you, and I welcome any questions we may have.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Is Alderwoman Pat Dow on the line or someone from her team? If not, commissioners, any questions, comments? Not all at once. All right, once more, any questions, commissioners, comments? Pretty clear? If there are none, then actually I'm going to call the item up for vote. I don't have any questions.
I do, actually.
Commissioner, please.
Yeah, I wanted representation from the department as to whether the alderman actually approves this. As you all know, I was a sitting alderman for 4 terms, and it's really important to have the alderman's input before we move forward.
So if I might answer that, we have instituted monthly briefings with aldermen, with the planning teams. So everything you're seeing they've seen, and they have encouraged our partnership as we are showcasing economic development opportunities in their communities. So they attend the monthly roundtable conversations so they could hear what their constituents are thinking, and they have separate briefings on where this is going. We don't have a formal letter that's been requested because these have been done in partnership with the aldermen. So it's a slightly just different process because we're shaping these RFPs with them at each step of the way. So before they get to the CDC, they kind of wouldn't get this far without the blessing of the alderman, but it hasn't been formalized in a letter. And I'm taking note of it, and I will certainly find out whether they think that that is a necessary step. But the reason why you haven't heard letters because we didn't solicit it because we were effectively shaping these RFPs with their full consent.
Okay.
This is Commissioner.
I do believe that you probably should have some kind of
way of formalizing it.
Something that allows us to know that they agree in concept.
Mm-hmm. Duly noted.
I mean, I was alderman for 4 terms. I'm telling you, you need to do something like that. That's why I'm so hesitant. We've had 5 of the 7 projects had no formal alderman input today.
Once again, the input.
I hear you. It's all from the department saying that you've worked with the alderman. So I have to believe that you have, but it would be nice to have something from the alderman. And I think Commissioner Cox has.
We meet with them month. Oh, apologies.
This is Commissioner Davis. I was just going to say, it's not lost on me what Commissioner Thomas is saying. I rely on those formal letters as well to make sure that the aldermen are in unison with what is happening. And I know that in COVID, it may be difficult to have them come, or they don't have to come, but I always enjoy asking them questions about what their constituents have said and what has happened at those meetings, and what they've, what input they have solicited and received.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a little bit concerning to me as well. Not that I don't believe that they're part of it, but I like to see formally what they're saying and be able to at least know what has happened from the community perspective.
Yeah. And in this instance, I'm pretty sure that Alderman Dow, who is the chair of the budget committee, is in the budget committee because they're having the budget hearings now. But she is one that is usually, she appears, if not sends a letter. But Commissioner Cox and Ms. Morris, I do believe that you all have had communication with her on this item.
Yeah, and just to clarify, we've had 3 community meetings specific to the development of this RFP, and the both aldermen and their staff have been in attendance in all of those meetings. So they are well aware that this is happening and are in general support.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Commissioners, any other questions, comments? If not, I'm gonna call the item up for a vote. The resolution before us requests authority for the Department of Planning and Development to issue a request for proposals for the purchase and redevelopment of the property located at 449 through 51 East 47th Street in the 47th and King Drive tax increment financing redevelopment project area. Do I have a motion?
So moved. This is Curtis.
So moved by Commissioner Curtis. Thank you, Commissioner Curtis. Do I have a second?
Adela Cepeda, second.
Seconded by Commissioner Cepeda. Okay, in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, I'm going to call the roll. Signify by saying yes, no, or abstain. Vice Chair Newsom.
Yes.
Secretary Butler.
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Commissioner Buford.
Yes.
Commissioner Cepeda.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
And Commissioner Bettis votes yes. The motion passes. Okay, Commissioners, I would now like to request a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion?
Yes. Commissioner Butler.
So moved by Secretary Butler. Do I have a second?
Yes. Commissioner Curtis.
Seconded by Commissioner Curtis. Turn on your microphones and you can signify by saying yes, and opposed say no. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
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 All right, and the meeting is adjourned. The yes have it. Thank you very much, Commissioners. Thanks for your time. I know we went a little bit over, but appreciate your input and feedback at today's CDC meeting. Thank you.
Take care.
You.
Take care.